Hey, happy Wednesday, Southland Division. This is your division manager, J. Brad Britton, coming at you with the weekly recognition and a little tribute because today is a very special day. It is February the 12th, and it is Abraham Lincoln's birthday that we celebrate today. We also celebrate J. Brad and Paulette Britton's anniversary, 26 years. Oh, clap for me, yay. And we also just got back from a really great trip to Puerto Vallarta with many Vector people. Maybe your manager will show you some photos. Maybe you already saw them on social media. If you're not following the NOC page or your manager's page or those type of things on Instagram or Facebook, you ought to get on those. Even follow Cutco Cares on Facebook, and you'll see some of the photos from the daycare for the disabled children that we visited. It was really great. So here's what went on last week. Like I said, interesting week. A lot of people out of town for 4 days of the week. But here we go. Connor and Ruben led the way with over $14,000 and $15,000. Lots of orders there. You see Francine, other CSP over 6, Michael CSP over 5, Leah over CSP over 4. Then we have Alex, who's the senior advisor now in the West LA office. Alex Perez, Helena over 2,000. Looks like pretty new right there from West LA. Garrett, also brand new from West LA. With only 2 orders, but 1,700, so good average order size. Nate with 1,600, another CSP. We got Tommy Gunn, otherwise known as Tommy Grant, advisor. Nice to see, 5 orders, and 4 is that magic number of orders. Don't forget, 4 is the magic number of orders. You get over 4 orders on a weekly basis for any period of consistency, and you will really see a lot of success in this business. Josh with 3 orders over 1,400, Seth 3 orders 1,300, keeping the strings alive. Ben Cooper 1,200, only 1 order but 1,200. Ben was gone for most of the week. Marcus in Cerritos, look at that, 2 orders, $1,000. And then Samalia, maybe goes by Sam, I don't know, but looking forward to meet this person. 4 orders, my magic number. I love it, brand new, right out of training. Let's see here. We got a couple more over that made the newsletter. Chelsea Brown, now Newport Beach / Santa Monica. I know it's confusing, but 1 month from now it'll pan out. And then Kimmy from Downey, looks like. FSM knocking out a couple of orders, making high percentages. And then lastly on the newsletter, squeaking on the newsletter, way to go, Chris Robinson, that magic 5 order number. I love it. Love seeing it. A lot of people with orders. It looks like down here we had 66 people with orders in the division for the week last week. I see some big names down here, and I'm sure there's other ones as well. I want to do a quick tribute to Abe Lincoln, and since it is his birthday, I will just play this little video. This is a Darren Hardy video. Darren Hardy, if you don't know, he was the original one of the founders of Success Magazine. Is a very famous and popular motivational speaker and trainer. And he does this thing called the Darren Daily. You can go to darrendaily.com and sign up to get a little motivational tip, training tip. There's different things, different days, almost always very poignant and worth it. And so here is a quick message from Darren Hardy.
A man was out splitting rails, working on a railroad site. Another burly guy walked up sternly to the man and demanded the man look him directly into the eye. The man stopped his work and obliged the guy, who continued to stare at him from some minutes silently. Finally, the burly guy told the man he had promised himself years ago that if I ever met a man uglier than myself, I would shoot him. The man looked at the guy's rifle mischievously and said nothing. Finally, the man pulled open his shirt, threw out his chest, and exclaimed, "If I am uglier than you, go ahead and shoot, because I don't want to live." That man was Abraham Lincoln, who, come to find out, was a hell of a funny guy. Today, February 12th, is Abraham Lincoln's birthday. Lincoln was the sweet 16th president of the United States and one of the greatest leaders ever. Abe, as you know, did a lot of serious things like lead the nation through the bloodiest war, preserve the Union, abolish slavery, strengthen the federal government, and modernize the United States economy. You know, simple stuff like that. We know the great Abe from his eloquent speeches like the Gettysburg Address, A House Divided, and many other barn burners. And we know Abe by his devotion to duty, sacrifice, and honesty. But Abe was also a seriously funny guy, too. And it was his wit and storytelling that was his secret weapon to persuasion and leadership. It was his ninja persuasion trick. Abe was a firm believer in the saying, laugh and the world laughs with you. Stephen A. Douglas, Lincoln's longtime political opponent, complained that Lincoln's jokes were, quote, like a slap across my back. Nothing else, not any of his arguments or any of his replies to my questions, disturbs me. But when he begins to tell a story, I feel that I am to be overmatched. Douglas and many other political opponents would eloquently present their brilliant and intelligent arguments, only to see them be torn to shreds after Abe followed up with a homely story or an anecdote. During one debate, Senator Stephen A. Douglas called him a two-faced man. Lincoln turned to the audience and said, I leave it to my audience. If I had another face, do you think I'd wear this one? Early in his career, feeling awkward and unqualified to address a conference of editors in Bloomington, Illinois, he started by saying, this occasion reminds me of what I felt like one day when I was out walking in the woods here in Illinois. I came across a woman riding horseback. As I stopped to let her pass, she also stopped and looked at me intently and said, I do believe you are the ugliest man I have ever saw. Said I, Madam, you are probably right, but I can't help it. No, she said, you can't help it, but you might stay at home. And he went on from there and had the audience in the palm of his hands. Lincoln used storytelling to get himself out of sticky situations too. In a famous incident near the end of the Civil War, General William Sherman asked Lincoln what should be done with Confederate leaders, such as the Confederate President Jefferson Davis, who was on the run. The Army needed to know whether to pursue and capture Davis. Lincoln did not want that, but he could not declare his wishes publicly. So Lincoln turned to Sherman and said, that reminds me of a story. There was a man who had taken a pledge against drinking. The man, said Lincoln, was offered a drink at a friend's house. The man declined on account of his pledge, so his friend offered him lemonade instead. Then the host mentioned that that lemonade would be a bit more palatable if he were to pour some brandy in it. The man said that, well, if his host were to do that, unbeknownst to him, then he could not object. Sherman immediately grasped the meaning of Lincoln's story, that the Army was to let Jefferson Davis escape, unbeknownst to the president. What a clever way of saying something that he really couldn't say at all. It was his storytelling ability that helped to raise Lincoln from his life as a common field hand to become perhaps one of the greatest American presidents of all time. So, Darren Daily community, I ask you, how might you better use self-deprecating wit, humor, and lighthearted storytelling to better warm you up to others, to get your point across and persuade others to take your desired action? Tell us where in your life you need to take a tip from Lincoln today in a conversation with a colleague, a conversation with maybe a spouse, with one of your kids, a client, a friend. Where will you bring a laugh today so that you can get the whole world around you laughing? Jot that down in your Darren Daily Journal and tell us in the comments below. And happy birthday, great Abe. Hey, while you're here.
All right. Well, listen, I hope you enjoyed that there. And that reminded me of a fellow named Ed Reed, who the Cutco sharpener is named after, the Ed Reed sharpener. I can remember hearing him give a talk about answering objections. And one of the things when people said, well, I just don't have that kind of money right now, or times are really tight, or something along those lines, a money objection. One of the first things he would do is say, hey, boy, don't I know it? Times really are tight for a lot of people right now. I mean, look at me. I'm out here selling knives for a living, right? And he did that little self-deprecating wit, to kind of break down the wall of tension right there. And I always thought that was a very clever way. And there's other little ways in a demo. One of these days we'll do the demo, the how to make people laugh on a demo workshop, and get that on video so you can get a lot of great ideas for that. Have a fabulous day. Keep rocking, and let's crush it this week. We got February week 2 is what we're in. The All-American scholarship race is underway. You might be brand new, don't know anything about all these different awards, but we got the President's Club. This is a perfect time to make sure you're making a run toward the President's Club. And last but not least, I got to let you know this, guys. This weekend, demos on a weekend like this are far more valuable than many other weekends throughout the year. Why is this? Okay, think about what's going on. If you listen to the radio, if you look at the newspaper, if you watch television for any period of time over the course of the next 4 or 5 days, you're going to see things on sale. Okay, you're going to hear people, furniture stores and car dealerships and everywhere else talking about President's Day weekend sale, President's Day weekend sale, and the media bombards our minds with this is a good time to buy things because you get good deals on things, right? We're getting a new couch, right? And I wanted to have it in the house by today, and my wife convinced me that no. We've got all these great President's Day weekend sales that basically are going now through the weekend. This is the time to buy a couch because you get the same stuff for better deals. Okay. So leverage the President's Day weekend in your demos, right? At the beginning of the demo, say, hey, this is President's Day weekend, and in honor of some of our greatest presidents, we've got some amazing deals on Cutco today. So if you do see something that you like, you don't have to get anything today, but if you see something that you like and you think you're going to get it someday, get it today. You'll get an amazing deal because of President's Day weekend. Okay. So create urgency. Okay. We got to do that. And we got to make sure we give people great deals whenever we do that. So there is your DVM message for the day. Have a fabulous rest of your team meeting and rock this weekend. Finish the week. Let's not call it the weekend. That's negative. How about we call it the strong end? Rock the strong end, baby. Let's do it. See ya.